We are live from our studios here in Kokomlemle, Accra, and you can reach us on your digital TV, DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. I'm Bernice Abubedulansa. The details now. Security agencies are on a manhunt for more persons suspected to be involved in last Friday's disturbances in parts of the Volta and Eastern regions. The Homeland Study Foundation, which is said to be spearheading the activities of the Western Togoland separatist group, claimed responsibility for the capturing of some security officers, the mounting of roadblocks, burning of car tires on two major routes leading to and from the Volta region. Many commuters were held up in about 3 hours of traffic last Friday early morning. According to reports, one person suspected to be part of the separatist group has been killed. A police commander is still on admission after sustaining several bullet wounds. This morning, Joy News is learning of some brutalities meted out by security officials in the North Tongue constituency, precisely Mepe, Bato, and Aveime. We'll be reaching correspondent Ivy Setoji, who is visiting that enclave, to help us with more on this particular incident. But we've heard from government that they're on the manhunt. Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah also says that government is aware of the group that is sponsoring the separatist groups. We now understand this is not being done by just one group. So we're following up on this clearly. I'll be bringing you more details, especially on the recent happenings in the North Tongue constituency, where we understand that there is a search for persons who took part in Friday's disturbances. Meanwhile, the chiefs and people of Bihohoi, Alabanyo, and Anglo traditional areas have jointly condemned Friday's disturbances and, while dissociating itself from the unfortunate incident, the chiefs urge security agencies and government to deal ruthlessly with persons involved.
Some armed men were reported to have attacked the Aveime and Mepe police stations in the North Thorn district of the Volta region on Friday dawn. The armed men attacked both stations simultaneously, overpowered the police officers, freed inmates, broke into the armories and stole firearms. They physically assaulted, shot and injured police officers. They also held some officers hostage and seized vehicles belonging to the Ghana Police Service and the North Thorn District Assembly. Roadblocks were mounted at Tefle on the Accra-Sugakope Aplau Highway and at Dropon on the Accra-Ho Highway. The Western Togoland Restoration Front, in a press statement, claimed ownership for the disturbances, indicating it was to assert their sovereignty over the Western Togoland territory. The officers held hostage were, however, rescued by a joint police-military enforcement team, while the vehicles were retrieved by the formed police unit. Nonetheless, some traditional authorities in the Volta region have condemned the resurgence and disassociated themselves from it. The chief of B. Abansi, Togbe Ajiman V, described the incidents as unfortunate and a threat to Ghana's peace and democracy.
We, the chiefs, elders, and the entire citizenry, with our French settler communities within the Gbin traditional area, condemn in no uncertain terms the activities of this group. We do not condone this act of illegality and vandalism being perpetrated by this group. We, the chiefs, elders, and the people of Bihohoi are Voltarians and Ghanaians, and for that matter, owe allegiance to no foreign power than the government of Ghana. It is an undeniable fact that Bihohoi, since independence, had been part of the Volta region of Ghana, and we have lived in peace and harmony with other regions of Ghana ever since. It is therefore unfortunate and unacceptable for a group of people with their selfish agenda to destabilize the peace and harmony prevailing in Bihohoi and, for that matter, Volta region and Ghana. At this crucial moment that we are about going to the polls, when the whole world is looking up to us as the epicenter of democratic governance in Africa. We also call on government and the security agencies to tighten up their security networks to be in a position to prevent this group of people from entering our traditional area. We, the chiefs and elders, are ready to lend our support to the security agencies in their fight against this group. We want to advise the group also to stay off being aware, because we do not belong to their movement, and for that matter, we resist fearlessly any attempt to invade our traditional area as custodians of the land.
The paramount chief of Alavanyu, Togbegan Cheje Atakra VII, indicated his traditional area has no connection with the group.
I want to make it crystal clear that Alavanyu and its people have nothing doing with the Western Togoland secession group. Alavanyu has suffered a lot from destabilization due to conflict with its neighbor. It is therefore glaring that there is seemingly some silence and peace in the area, and the chiefs and people are working hard towards attaining and maintaining lasting solution and restoration to the peace to the area. What Alavanyu needs at this time is rehabilitation and development of the area, and it is not ready to be embroil itself in another trouble. I want also to express our disappointment in the unwarranted attack on our son, ACP Dennis Fiakwe, an Alavanyu citizen and divisional commander of Ghana Police at Sogankope, who sustained various degrees of wounds in the Western Togoland attack.
The Awamefia of the Anglo State, Togbesui III, also issued a press release to condemn the act and reaffirmed the Anglo State's support for the unity and sanctity of the sovereign state of Ghana. Friday's disturbances resulted in the death of one person, while scores were injured. Some 31 suspected members of the group were arrested, flown to Accra, and handed over to the Bureau of National Investigations for interrogations. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
We've been joined by the MP for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Thank you for your time this morning. We just heard from our reporter, and that's been confirmed by government, that one person has passed. But you were also reported to have said that 3 people have died. How do you reconcile the other figures?
Well, good morning to you and to all our viewers. Yes, the count of casualties, so far as the dead are concerned, we have 1 in Joapon, and then we have 2 in the Nyatipo area, according to my constituents. That's what they are reporting. I do not want this to be a tussle between government and my people. That's why we have called for independent investigations into these.
Hello, Mr. Ablakwa. Too bad we lost him there. We'll try and work the lines and also get his update on the latest, as we understand that there is some search in his constituency for persons believed to be part of the groups that took part in the revolt on Friday. We understand that some military men are in communities in the North Tong constituency as we speak. Good. I understand we have him back now. Thank you very much. So quickly, before we lose you again, Mr. Ablakwa, we understand that there is some search happening now in your constituency. The military is looking for persons believed to have taken part in Friday's disturbances. Are you aware, and what are your constituents telling you?
Yes, I'm aware. As you know, I had a tour of the various locations yesterday, and I was briefed by the commander leading the operations. I have told them that we welcome them into our constituency. It's important that the national security apparatus becomes more up and doing, to deal with this threat. Already it's a security and intelligence failure that has brought us to this point. So they are welcome to carry out their work, especially as we are hearing that a lot of the people who came into our constituency to carry out these heinous attacks came from outside. If they are still hiding in the constituency, it is in our own interest that they are fished out and dealt with according to law. However, we are receiving reports from our chiefs and our people about some high-handedness. It appears that some of the men are not using commensurate force in getting our people to cooperate with the operations they are embarked upon. So we will appeal to them. I've already called the commander last night that the reports are becoming quite incessant, and our chiefs are getting very worried about the high-handedness.
Mr. Ablakwa, when you say high-handedness, what exactly do you mean? Can you give us specifics?
Yes, so I can give you specifics. For example, all motor riders are stopped, asked to submit their bikes. Their bikes are confiscated. There are reports that some of them were asked to lie on the floor while the motorbikes were taken away to the various police stations in the constituency. Then there are also specific reports about the crossing points. You know that the Volta River divides my constituency into two. So at both sides of the crossing point, the boats are being prevented from transporting passengers from one end of the river to the other. So there are those reports as well. Then the third case we are also following the house-to-house, searches that are being done. Some say that the way and manner is being done, how they are dragged out of their rooms. Some mothers in particular have called to complain that the way they are treated and the way their children are treated, including nursing mothers, they think that the force is too much, and it leaves a sour taste in their mouth. So yes, I know it's a tough job. It's a difficult terrain, and going after these bandits is going to require a lot of force. But that's why they are trained, they are professionals, and we know that they can draw deep on their level of professionalism and expertise to handle this matter with a human face, so that people, because you see, you need the cooperation of all my constituents. And I've told them that the military, the joint military, police, and Navy operations they are our friends, they are allies. We all want to get to the bottom of this. So let's not do things in a way that will let the community people who you need to provide information to help you to, look out for suspicious, conduct, and, the people who don't belong to our place, and people who may have conducted been part of this whole, invasion. So I want to renew my appeal to the hierarchy of the those leading the operations, that they should be mindful to apply human face. They should be highly professional.
All right, Mr. Ablakwa, so just to confirm, you haven't received any reports of brutalities, just force. Your constituents are concerned about the level of force, but none of them has been brutalized.
I mean, for now,
you haven't received such reports.
I haven't received specific reports of brutalities or even injuries at this point. Assault.
Okay.
No, it's just excessive use of force they are complaining about. And then some of the methods, they're being asked to lie on the floor
and all that. Okay. So you also mentioned that you're told that those who came to cause the commotion within your constituency are not from your constituency. But do you know of any person or group of persons within your constituency who may be supporting the idea of, breaking away from Ghana?
To be very honest with you, I do not know of any group of persons. Indeed, all my chiefs have met. They will be putting out a statement shortly that they are opposed to any attempt. And you see, the fact of the matter is that all the Tong areas, we have 3 Tong constituencies now. We were never part of this Western Togoland, agenda. the 1956 plebiscite, 9th May 1956, the Tong territorial areas were not part of it, just as the Anglong state was not part of it. So it's really a distortion of history to enter into our territory, into North Tong, and make it look as though we are part of this whole, Western Togoland agenda. We've never, if you look at the original map, the geographical demarcation, North Tong, Central Tong, South Tong, we have never been part of this. If you look at the map, it's a few portions of Bango, Hohoi, and the areas, including northern Ghana, Upper East, from Dagbon, Mampusi, Boku, to parts of Togo, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast, who make up the original Western Togoland. We are not part of it. So we are educating our youth that, look, they should not fall for the distortion, the revisionist agenda. Some people have a different agenda, which we should not allow them to enter our constituency, foment trouble, and destabilize the constituency and the region for that matter.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is MP for South Tong, and we know that his constituency is one of the constituencies that had those disturbances on Friday. But right now we're being joined by Jeffrey Gamensa. He is a reporter with Lolonyo FM in Hohoi, and he's been sampling the concerns of residents about the incident that occurred. Hello, Jeffrey. What have you been picking up?
Well, so we are looking at two groups of people here. There are some who are in favor of the action and others are not in favor. Now, for those in favor, they feel that, the Volta region is being marginalized by the rest of the country, and that they also believe the region will see significant development if the Western Togoland is created. Now, it is also important to know that most of these people do not know the areas that make up the so-called Western Togoland. Now, for those not in favor, they are arguing that the May 1956 plebiscite has, decided the future of the territory in question. So that is the situation here as I speak.
And what's the general mood in Hohoi?
Well, in Hohoi, everything is calm, as if nothing is happening. But we've only seen two press conferences, one by the chiefs and people of the main traditional area, then one other by the people of Alavanyu. Now, of course, we know they are distancing themselves from the actions of this very group in question. But everything is calm, and we're going about activities normally.
In other parts of the Volta region, we are seeing heavy security presence. The military is going to homes, we are told, searching for persons believed to have participated. Is that the same thing? Is there a similar situation there?
No, it's a different situation altogether. As I mentioned earlier, we're going about activities as we do every day. We go to work, you come back, and there's nothing of such sort, no security presence. The police are going about the activity. So the situation here in Hohoi is very common. Nothing of that sort, is ongoing.
Thank you very much. Jeffrey Gamensa is with Lolonyo FM. Lolonyo FM is affiliate to Joy FM, and he's been sharing with us what's been happening in Hohoi with regards to Friday's incident. Well, government says Friday's incident is not an intelligence failure, as some have suggested, since there were graver acts of insurgency which were foiled by the security agencies. In his press briefing on Sunday, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah maintained the situation would have been much worse, while security expert Colonel Festus Abuaje, retired, disagrees. He was speaking on Prime Morning on Joy Prime TV.
The definition of certain terms of art, depending on what area of discipline one is talking about, is not the reserve or preserve of politicians. In intelligence work, an intelligence failure is when, as a result of a number of factors, the intelligence actors are not able to foresee and prevent an event, let's say, by an enemy or any incident that is injurious to the interest of the state, the government, the security forces, and so on. It includes, as a critical example, when you are surprised. In other words, you wake up and you realize that something has happened that you should have known or could have known but couldn't do that. So yesterday I was forced to place on my Facebook post definition of intelligence failure. By that definition, there was a clear intelligence failure. Now, what we cannot determine is at what stage in the cycle, which is about 6 or 7 steps, that the authorities failed to detect that a certain group, whether it was the Homeland Study Foundation or some other group, was preparing to carry out activities that actually are injurious to the sovereignty of this nation. So I would agree with anybody who argues that there was an intelligence failure in very clear terms, and there shouldn't be any ambiguities about.
Well, the security expert also believes that the incident is an act of war.
The seriousness of this incident lies in the fact that hitherto they had only been hoisting flags, I suppose, placing signages on roads, saying you are entering Japan and so on and so forth. This time, they have used arms. And I want to suggest that there's a declaration of war, that if they are now prepared to use force, lethal force, to achieve their objectives, then we need to be prepared for the long haul. And I've tried to suggest that they're not going to relent, So what happened was textbook, insurgency. That's how it starts. They target the, symbols of the state, especially the very vulnerable ones, and police stations in all instances, from Malaysia to wherever that these situations have cropped up. You have smaller numbers of policemen and women manning officers. They are the ones who will be targeted. Their weapons will be taken away. Sometimes they'll be killed or they'll be abducted in order that they drive away the presence of the state. And then gradually they're able now to control a sizable part of a country's territory. Then we have full-blown insurgency on our hands. I've suggested that any cat and mouse strategy is not going to work.
Well, away from the revolt on Friday, as COVID cases begin to rise again in many European countries, governments have taken decisions to lock down hard-hit cities either partially or totally. In England, for example, residents are being asked to work from home if possible. Customers and workers must wear masks in shops. Also, any gathering of more than 6 people is illegal unless it meets one of the exemptions stated by authorities. This situation may appear remote to us here in Ghana, but don't forget that at some point, many of these countries were comfortable enough to lift lockdown restrictions based on science-based data. But as the scientists have always cautioned, the virus is dynamic and not so predictable. With concerns about non-compliance to wearing of nose masks, could Ghana be toying with a possible second wave despite current drop in our figures? Dr. Abuajita Costa is with Ghana's COVID-19 task force and he joins the show. Hello, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, there appears to be a correlation between the publication of a current case count and the attitude of citizens when it comes to wearing of masks, right?
Thank you so much. Let me greet your viewers and all those listening to you on JoyNews. Yes, obviously, as our figures keeps going down, it's not matched by our attitude in terms of the compliance. But what I'll say is that there are various factors that may be accounting for the reduction in cases in Ghana, which we continue to investigate. But the joy is that we did a little bit of research, and we saw that the workplace compliance actually is very high. Shop compliance seems also to be very high. So we certainly have to continue to advise that people adhere to the safety protocols. Now, from the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Information perspective, we have started a program where we are engaging the various regional House of Chiefs so that they are able to educate their subjects on the safety protocols. So what we aim to achieve is for the communities to own the preventive or safety protocols. And bear in mind, in Europe and other places where the pandemic started, to be honest with you, it keeps going up. So we are also putting in place measures to make sure that we prepare for any eventualities, or maybe if there is a second wave or anything. By that time, communities must be informed well, and the chiefs will be able to be in a position to actually take charge of that. So that is exactly what we are doing.
Dr. Abuaji, there appears to be one aspect of this whole COVID-19 fight that we don't seem to hear much about, and that's enforcement. What's happening to that? We have a whole executive instrument laying out sanctions where people fail to wear their nose masks. And we know that it's been a major issue in cities like Kumasi. Health authorities are concerned the non-compliance is on a different scale, according to them. In Accra, we are beginning to see a decline as well. What's happening to enforcement?
Thank you very much. Let's put it this way. Knowledge and information alone will never change behavior unless it is done with things like enforcement and other interventions. And it is the reason why we advocated for the EI 64. Now, we should also say that in our settings, for example, with the social distancing and the other things seems to be very difficult, but the wearing of the mask should be mandatory for everyone. Call on the security agencies to it's
Hello, Doc.
But it's organizations. Please, it is time for you to call. To play your part, to make sure that people are actually adhering to the safety protocols, especially the wearing of the mask, because it is the way out, and we cannot compromise on this. So we are pleading, I'm using your medium to plead to all organizational heads to make sure that they enforce especially the wearing of the mask, so that we continue to enjoy the reduction to a zero COVID-19 case in Ghana.
Doc, I can understand that you are appealing to the security agencies. Help me understand also if I'm wrong. You are with the COVID-19 task force, and I want to believe that there's a representative from the security agency there. So this mustn't be really an appeal that you're putting out on television, but do we know why from your task force why enforcement seems to be a struggle or a problem?
Obviously, yes. You see, the thing is, if you look at the safety protocols too, it is not part of our culture. We are now trying to accept it as Kenyans. So, for example, people will tell you that, oh, when I wear the face mask, I'm not able to breathe and other things. So I think that the end product that we want to achieve is behavior change. And doing this, we have to get the balance right. This is why it is prudent for me to appeal to all state actors helping in this COVID-19 fight to play their part, because it is not also only enforcement, it has to do with others. You can encourage people to actually wear it, but it needs to be repetitive. So this is the reason why we are using your medium.
Great.
So that continuous education becomes part and parcel of this.
I understand that, Doc, but I want to get to the bottom of the matter, and that's why I'm asking if there are any challenges that the security agencies are facing with regards to enforcement. And that's why I brought that preamble that you belong to a task force and there is a rep from the security agencies there, and you're all working together. So I just want to know, are there challenges? Are you having challenges? I'm sure if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 examples, people will pick a cue.
I think it has to do with the perception that the dispatch gone or is going. And that's what I'm saying. You see, in a pandemic like this, and for example, I use health promotion. What you have to do is to deploy all your arsenal so that if this one fails, this one is there. So for example, if enforcement is not being done right, then we are also engaging the chiefs. We are engaging community actors to play their part, so that it comes together to help. So there is no one reason why you say that. It is multiple. And in this, we are trying to use all measures in our disposal to make sure that people comply with the safety protocols. Because people will tell you that they do not have any case in, let's say, the north. Why should they be wearing the face mask? So education. And education is the key to this. And this is why now we want the communities to own the education or the safety protocols so that they will they will actually comply.
All right.
So we will continue to engage the security agencies. We continue to engage the various actors to make sure that they actually comply with the safety protocols. But education is actually key. Not only education, capacity building. This is why we are building the capacity of institutions for people to understand what is actually happening. It is not always that you have to use force. You have to have a leverage and also know how to manage it. So that's exactly what we are doing.
Doc, before I let you go, there's something interesting about plans by government to absorb the cost for testing of players in our Premier League. There was an announcement that it could resume. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, thank you. Yes, let me start by saying that COVID-19 test and its treatment in Ghana, everything is free. It is only the private facilities that we've accredited, those that we've accredited, that people are paying for. But in the government settings, everything has been free since day one. Now, the president actually eased for our under 20 and under 17 players to start training to engage in international assignment. We have done the test for them for free. Pursuant to the proposal that was submitted by the Ghana Football Association and the Ministry of Sports, Youth and Sports, and also the Sports Authority, we reviewed the proposals, we submitted our reports, and as part of that, the agreement was that the Premiership and the Division 1 should be allowed to start, but players and officials will be tested at no cost to them, but government will take charge of the cost.
Okay, Doc, quickly.
We continue to work with them.
Quickly, just help us.
We continue to work with them. So, yeah, please go ahead.
Just help us understand how this, when is this a one-off thing government is absorbing? Because we know the players don't live in a camp. They move in and out. So I said, when someone shows symptoms, you test them, government takes the cost. Is that how it's going to work? Okay, so we have two systems that we're going to operate now. Before they start training, we will test them. Then when the Premiership starts, we will test as well. Now, this is the scenario. Health workers, some were tested, and we keep going to work. The infection is in the country. So it's the same scenario that you have to apply. So, for example, if the players are going for training, government will do a one-off testing for all the players, the Premiership and the Premiership and Division 1 before they start the training. Then we treat those with positives, and we allow them to join later. But during when the season is about to start,
we will also make sure that they are all tested. So we've agreed on that. Those are the systems that we're going to use.
I really appreciate your time here this morning. Dr. Dacosta Boaje is Director of Health Promotion at the Ghana Health Service. And we've been talking about a lot of things, non-compliance to the wearing of masks. And we just ended with that conversation on government's plan to absorb the cost of testing and treatment for players, even as they prepare to resume the league. And he was just sharing with us how it will work when people have symptoms or when people show signs. So there you have it. But away from that, construction of a 100-bed hospital gets underway in the West Mamprusi municipality of the Northeast region, just weeks after residents accused government of failing to deliver on its promise in constructing that particular hospital.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoudou Baumia in December last year cut short for the construction of the 100-bed hospital to facilitate the delivery of quality healthcare as part of the government promise to make healthcare accessible to every Ghanaian. The project was expected to be completed in December this year. However, 3 months to the completion date, contractors were yet to come to site, while the project site had been turned into a maize farm. The development led to some of the residents to accuse the government of deceit as they demanded information on the state of the project. However, few weeks after the residents' demand, contractors have arrived and are busy clearing the site for construction works to begin. Arumi Alsomo Laki is a municipal chief executive.
The GMPC hospital, what actually delayed the project was not because of funding. There was a restructuring. What came earlier, they have to restructure everything and passes through the procurement process. You know, as the structure keep on changing, then procurement process have to also change. That was one of the reasons. Secondly, because the government mentioned the 88 hospitals within the country, they wanted to use the GMPC hospital as a foundation, looking at the structures of the GMPC hospital, how they can restructure it so that all the hospitals in the 88 districts will all take that shape. At that time, they have to take their time and really visit all those places. I am the chairman of the project monitoring team. We have had a lot of discussion, but as we speak today, the contractor is back to site. Well, yes, the contractor is, you can go to the site now and see whether the contractor is there or not. We have finished all our procurement process. The funds that were supposed to be released to the contractor has also been released. So we have nothing to complain about. They are doing the site clearing now. And after the site clearing, in the next 2 weeks, when you go to the site, you actually know that the government is working. We cannot promise our people and fail them. The vice president is a native of Wadwale, is a native of Mamprugu, and it is a duty on him to actually serve his people. And that is why he's serving them without any form of contradiction.
At the site, the maize crops were being leveled by a heavy machine. The owner of this farm had told Joy News he had not been compensated properly. A member of the project monitoring team at the office of the municipal chief executive, Salifu Mbandima Idrisu, however, discounted the farmer's claim.
This farmer, as I speak to you now, has been compensated. Compensation here means that the contractor and his financiers of this very project have gone into his effort here and have estimated that they give him a certain amount of money which will satisfy him. But you know, as human beings, no man is satisfied with whatever he or she has. So even though the man has been compensated or has been given something to relieve him of the pain that he'll be going through due to the destruction of his crops, he may still have issues or he may not be satisfied. But what we are all expecting is that we will all have a collaboration from him so that we have a peaceful execution of this project.
Salifu also denied allegations against government and advised all residents to support the contractor and his staff in the execution of the project.
For anybody to say, I'm repeating, that this project is a deceit it was going to be used to buy votes. It cannot be true today, it cannot be true tomorrow. But what I can assure those people is that this project, as it's starting today, will be continuing till we finish it 100 over 100. And at the end, the government and Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Alaji Mahmoud Bawumia, will put those people to shame.
Elias Tanko with that report. Let's cross over now to Legon. The National Science and Maths quiz is underway, and many schools are hoping to secure a place in the quarterfinals and the 1/8 stages. And we know that Wesley Girls Senior High School has just done that. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
National Science and Maths quiz was the first contest here, and they won with a huge margin. They kicked out a seeded school, Oti Boatin SHS. They were unable to rise to the occasion. They are out of the competition together with Kintampo SHS. Oti Boatin SHS was a seeded school. They were last in this particular contest. Let's speak to the contestants from Holy Child School. Let's find out from them what we should expect in the subsequent contest. Hello, what's your name?
Samantha Gatti.
Samantha, tell me, what should we expect in your subsequent contest? Quarterfinals? What should we expect?
Expect that we'll do our best to win and then proceed to the higher levels of the competition.
Okay. What's your assessment of this contest?
Oh, well, it was okay. It was fine. It was cool.
It was okay, it was fine, it was cool. How cool was it?
Cool. Like, just cool.
Was it a walkover for you, the two schools?
Walkover? Oh, no. No sense of walkover. They were cool.
Which schools are you hoping to compete against in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, those who went from the next contest. So, but we hope.
Yeah, okay. So let me say, in subsequent contests, which schools would you love to compete against?
Oh, any school would do. I don't mind. Any school.
And I will ask again, Wesley Girls?
Wesley, oh, that'll be cool. That'll be fine.
Okay.
We meet them, we do our best, we beat them, fine. That'll be nice.
You beat them?
Yes, we'll do our best.
Okay. And are you winning the trophy? Is Holy Child winning the trophy?
Yes, please.
You're winning?
Yes, please.
Okay. What's your name?
Nelly.
Okay, Nelly, tell me, what was the contest like for you?
What was this contest like?
Yeah.
Honestly, this wasn't my best. I know I could have done way better. Yes. And I'm going to, I don't know, but then this contest, I don't know. This wasn't thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Okay, you think you didn't put up your best performance?
Oh, I know I could have done way better.
Okay. And do you think you're going to do better in your next contest? Or you are hoping to do better in your next contest?
I'm hoping tension doesn't catch me. Do you understand what that means?
I get you. Are you under pressure right now?
Oh, I'm not under pressure. I'm actually...
But what is it like on the stage? Are you usually under pressure to deliver?
This contest, the pressure was too much.
These are students of Holy Child School who just secured a place in the quarterfinals of the National Science and Maths quiz. In about 14 minutes at 11 a.m., the contest involving Wesley Girls will happen shortly. So we'll be bringing you all the updates you need to know. But quickly now, we'll take a quick breather for business. Do stay.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Each Ghanaian will be required to pay a little over 8,700 cedis when the country's debt of 263 billion cedis is shared amongst 30 million people. That's the population. Now, that's because the nation's total public debt stock inched up by about 7 billion cedis between June and July this year. Charles Nixon Yeboah examines the rising debt level and its potential challenges to the economy.
The total public 68.3% of gross domestic product and is gradually nearing the dreaded 70% mark. Between January and July this year, the nation's debt has increased by about 43.5 billion cedis. This comes as a concern because of the slower fiscal consolidation process and the potential cost as a result of a depreciating cedi. Figures from the Bank of Ghana indicate that the external component is estimated at 138 billion cedis, approximately $24.3 billion. The challenge in servicing the external debt is repaying in US dollars at a time in which the cedi may have further depreciated against the American currency. Prior to COVID-19 pandemic, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund had expressed worry about the nation's rising debt levels, warning it poses a threat to the fiscal economy going forward. Their argument was that the nation might struggle to repay both principal and interest costs if its increasing debt levels are not checked. This is as a result of the expected foreign exchange risks and the failure to close the fiscal gap. Few weeks ago, ratings agency Fitch had also warned that the nation's credit ratings might be downgraded because of expected slower fiscal consolidation process. A downgrade of the economy could trigger liquidation of investment by foreign portfolio investors and pressure on the local currency. There is a school of thought that it's easier to borrow or take a loan, but repayment is always a test case. The country is expected to spend about 24 billion cedis on interest payments alone this year. This is 4 billion cedis more than it spent last year. 70% of the nation's taxable revenue is used to service debt as well as pay wages and salaries.
Now, Anglo-Gold Ashanti is concerned there still remains a gap between academia and industry, resulting in the lack of highly skilled professionals in the mining industry. The disconnect, according to industry players, has compelled businesses to outsource expensive human resource options. Now, the company is therefore partnering the University of Mines and Technology to train graduate students in a one-year program dubbed Graduate Trainee Program. Prince Apia has more.
The one-year program, dubbed the Graduates Training Program, is a partnership between the University of Mines and Technology and Anglo-Gold Ashanti Obuasi Mines. It is meant to bridge the gap between academia and industries. Senior Manager, Human Resources, Anglo-Gold Ashanti Obuasi, Mrs. Wosela Bobie, revealed this during the official closure and intake ceremony for the 2020 batch of internships.
Tertiary institutions equip them with all the book knowledge that they can get, in as much as it is relevant to when they come to the industry. There is still a gap in their soft skills. So this program we embarked on it as part of our corporate social responsibility, because we are instilling in them some work ethics of how to push themselves, how to drive themselves, how to excel. I envisage that in the next 5-10 years, for those who excel, we could be seeing first entry-level management staff out of these people.
Started in 2019, 8 students, 5 of them females, have already been trained. The 2020 and 2021 batch will train 10 students, 8 of which are females. Vice Chancellor of the University of Mines and Technology, Professor J.S.Y. Kuma, explains the program is essential to ensure business continuity.
We train technically competent people, and many times they are like uncut diamonds.
Business update. Sports is up next. Stay tuned.